Hello, everyone. Welcome to What the Faith podcast. I'm your host, Scotty B. We are back. We took a little break. Life got in the way. We did life together, but we are back and want to welcome you all to the podcast. So we are endeavoring to create a space and the format to where we can be Christ-centered, but hear stories. We've got a lot of great people within our organization at Res. We want to talk about stories. We want to hear people's life. We want to hear their journeys, and that's what we're going to do today. So we've got a couple of people here we're going to talk to. But we want to, really the purpose of this podcast is to be Jesus-centered, right? It's Christ-centered first and foremost, but also student-driven. And so we've got two students behind the camera. We've got Emerson and Silas here. They're working sound and video, and really use people's gifts. Those two are very technically gifted. There's something they're very passionate about. So I want to thank them, point them out, and then of course Todd is helping us kind of put this whole thing together. Todd was on the first podcast. I'm sure we'll see him later down the road. But student driven as well as in front of the camera, and so. We want to hear ideas. We want people to come on the show. We want people to host the show or be co-hosts. So, and also hear what suggestions you might have for episodes. So I've got a lot of great feedback from people about specific things they'd like to hear. And so we will delve into that later on down the line. So, but today is all about spiritual journeys. And I'm happy to welcome two excellent people who I've gotten to know over the last couple of years. The first is going to be Tori. What do we call you?
MC Triple T.
MC Triple T. I think I coined that a year ago.
Yeah, that actually did come.
Is that
from
a Scotty B original?
Yeah, that really is.
And how do you spell your name again?
Torey.
Okay, I spelled it T-O-R-I, like it should be spelled. And then we have Roxy Connolly. And how do you spell your name, Roxy?
Roxie.
And do we have a nickname for you yet?
No.
Okay, we'll come up with one by the end of the podcast. Does that sound good? We're talking about spiritual journeys, about our faith today. And so, as I said, this is a faith-based podcast, and it's important to understand from a student perspective and from a leader perspective, right? Tori, how long have you been around the church?
About a year now.
No way.
About a year and a half now.
Okay, it seems much longer than that.
Oh, it seems like forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think because you've been on 2 trips to Carolina, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Youth Front. And Roxy, how long have you been coming to church here?
5 years.
5 years. You've been on how many mission trips, would you say?
2.
Okay, 2. So you were in Carolina and then Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Okay, last time. So, but we want to hear your journey. So we got a couple questions and looking to kind of understand how you came to faith, what your journey's like, and really specifically what it's like being a high schooler, right? What that looks like. Navigating the ins and outs of being a teenager with social media, with relationships, those types of things. But also hear from you, Tori, about what it's like to be a young leader, right? You just graduated college. You're looking to move on to the next phase of life. So I want to ask you both, when did God, Jesus, first come into your life? I'll start with you, Tori.
Yeah. So for me, that was, I would say, middle school. I'm the youngest of the family, so I have 2 older brothers who play competitive sports. Mm-hmm. And so growing up on Sundays, church, we were usually out of town. Tournament after tournament, I was not home. So around, I think I was like 15, my mom and my grandma said, hey, you're going to go to this church camp. It's one of our Methodist church camps down the road. And they were like, you're going to ride horses, meet some friends, and just hang out. I've never been away from home. I never went to really new church.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, sign me up. So I went, and I had no idea. They dropped me off, and they were dropping me off in these A-frame tents.
Okay.
There's boots and jeans everywhere, and I was like, okay, guess I'm going to do it. So I stayed for the week, and I ended up meeting a counselor there who kind of introduced me to everything. Introduced me to Bible study and small groups and worship and all the different things, and even just like hung out with me. Yeah. And being under my 2 older brothers, I never had my own thing. I wasn't really a huge sports girl. But the moment I was at church camp, none of that mattered. I had friends, I hung out, I had a blast. So as soon as I left, I knew that that's what I wanted to do and go back into that. And that kind of started my journey of I want to go to a church and continue that outside of camp.
Did you continue going to that camp?
So yeah, I ended up going back the next year, and I ended up spending half my summer there. The staff started to recognize me very quickly, and then after that, kind of influenced after each summer, it was like, okay, where can I find a church home?
Yeah. And you grew up in Eudora, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then moved to Wichita?
I moved to Andover, the Wichita area, my junior year of high school.
Okay. So Roxy, same you. When did you meet God? When did he come into your life?
I think that God has always been in my life because my mom has raised me up in a Christian household and I've been baptized as a baby.
Okay.
But God really came into my life the summer going into 8th grade.
Okay. How so?
I went to Youth Front with Gabby,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't really have any other friends that were in her friend group, but I went just to be around her, and I made so many friends. Worship really, struck me in my heart. It was, the place that I felt most connected to
So
God.
it all kind of came together at that point in time.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I became friends with Katie, and so Gabby and Katie invited me to do confirmation, and that just
If you've seen Roxy, usually Gabby and or Katie are
yeah.
really close.
Yeah.
By, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere close
One
by.
and the other come together.
I've had the pleasure of working with you all last year on Wednesday nights, and then Youth Front, and then you and Katie went to Carolina. What has those mission trips meant to you in your faith journey?
I think it just helps me make a lot of friends. And whenever you have a lot of friends or you're just meeting new people, it can really help you get closer to Christ because you're sharing experiences and worship with other people and new people, and you can share your testimony, and it just opens your eyes to what other people are around you.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed over the last year and looking forward to going to your sophomore year. All of you guys really being kind of in tune with your faith and maturing and growing in it. Have you felt over the last year, or what have you felt kind of maturing wise that your spiritual life has gone through?
I think that I've gotten more involved with this church, especially over in the year 2025, because I've had so many new opportunities and I became friends with random people in the church whenever I go to the foundry services, and I've become friends with people in different grade levels, and so it's very welcoming. I really like it.
You're a very outgoing, would you say outgoing person?
Yes.
Absolutely. Tori, you talked about camp, but can you recall a moment when you really felt God? I mean, I can certainly point to moments in my life where I'm like, yeah, I remember specifically driving a car in a cornfield, the sun was setting. I was like, that was me. All right.
That was really descriptive there.
Guys, cornfields are where I meet God in a lot of spaces. But I want to know about you.
Yeah, I mean, there's I feel like a few different moments, but one that I really call back to was actually last year in North Carolina. We were at one of the churches in the local areas that we were working with throughout the week, and it was actually our first night of worship there, and that worship was just so powerful. Last year I was still kind of new to Resurrection, so I didn't really know a lot of the students yet, and but I was kind of slowly but surely starting to get to know them. And watching them just all worship, and it was so powerful. It was so loud, and it was just so real and just authentic. It was really powerful.
Yeah, how about you, Roxy? Same kind of thing. What a moment, especially the last couple of years, where you really felt in touch with God, or you felt His presence?
I think one of the main times that I've felt God in my life is just at Youth Front Camp during worship.
Yeah.
Not a specific day, but just I always felt the need to just put my hands up in the air and start praising Him. And sometimes I'd even cry, or my voice would crack. And so I just felt so close, He was just around me. And then I would stop singing just to hear everybody else sing. And it was so amazing seeing all these people come together to worship.
I love it. Yeah, and those are really powerful moments at Youth Front and on these trips. And, we will talk more about all that's available as far as Youth Front and mission trips, and there's so many things Res has, but the impact that it has while you're there, and then hopefully we carry that away with us. But faith isn't always about the great feelings, the warm and fuzzies. We're often challenged, and so describe a time when you felt faith was confusing or shaky. And again, I'll start with you, Tori.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like anytime going through hard things and having a lot of unknown is always shaky for me. And I feel like also sometimes it's even shaky in the in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
I think a mix of both of those for me. I think the day-to-day, sometimes I get so busy with work and get to going that I just feel a little bit disconnected. But I think actually the biggest moment and the most recent moment actually was not too long ago, is actually just finishing up undergrad and now having realizing that like that was kind of it. And you think in the moment, oh, I'm not going to miss college. Like, oh, I'm not going to miss school. But then like as of recently watching everybody go to Target and prep for college and like high school and like going back to that, and then realizing like I have to put my full faith in God and what's next because I have nothing right now. And so it's a lot.
Yeah. From the time you're 5, 6, the rhythm of school.
Yeah. You look forward to it every year.
Yeah.
And like I love decorating my room and moving and seeing all my friends, and like realizing this year it's like I don't have anything next. Like I don't know what's next.
So,
And
trusting God to really take you through this kind of ambiguity and this next phase of life. Yeah. How about you, Roxy?
I think some hard times in my life that has made me just like struggle with my faith is just this past year, especially because it's like the first year of high school, but I set myself up with taking so many honors classes and an AP class and then getting roped into softball, and I just had the whole year was so busy. I had barely any time to like actually dive into my Bible. Yeah. And the only time that I would like worship God is just at Sundays because I would miss a lot of Wednesday nights because of softball. And so I think it was very hard because I wanted to get closer with him, but I just did not have the time, and I couldn't like make the time for him. But I think it was just easy to like get into the summer, and now I'm looking back on the year and how I can put God in my life. So
what changes are you making this year, your sophomore year?
I'm definitely just gonna make time for God. There's
You get drinking.
There's like FCA at my school, and so
Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Yep.
And it's in the mornings and afternoons, so I can make time and just wake up a little bit more early so I can go be with him during the school day. Yeah. And then if I have like an open advisory, I can always just like bring my Bible to school, and if I need to, I can go to a quiet space and just read my Bible. Yeah.
I think, and my youngest daughter is going to go to her freshman year. And freshman year can be something that is, managing time, a new school is usually bigger. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I'm sure, hopefully a lot of people are listening that are going to start freshman year. But how did, as you said, you missed a lot of Wednesdays, but how did the Wednesdays you were here help impact you or keep you centered in your faith?
It just helped me like renew my relationship with Christ. Like halfway through the week, I was like, okay, I'm halfway through the week and I have God with me.
And Scotty B.
And Scotty B.
Thank you.
I had God and Scotty B with me, and so
not on the same, different levels.
And so I'll be able to get through the week because I know that He's with me, and
God, not Scotty B.
God.
Thank you.
And I know that if I have troubles or anything, that my peers will pray for me, and God will just surround me with all my struggles throughout the week.
I want to ask you too, what are you most curious about when it comes to faith? I mean, there's a lot of unknowns with faith, and I'm curious from like you're 15. What is a 15-year-old curious about when it comes to God, faith, Jesus? Because again, there's a lot of unknowns.
I'm really like curious about the Bible because I'm like not even really that far into the Bible, but we've been in our small group for sophomores on Sundays. We've been meeting up and reading Pastor Adam's book called Making Sense of the Bible.
Oh, awesome.
And we've read a couple chapters like, is the Bible infallible? And just like, did Jesus really say that? And so it's really curious to me, like getting to dive deeper into the Bible and like my own perspective of how I take away from the Bible, or like if things are really true.
Yeah. Do you have a plan to read the Bible like daily? Are you in Scripture? Okay.
Daily.
Do you follow a certain like app or something like that? Okay.
No,
you just get in there?
Yeah, I've been on social media. There are some like the best ways to understand the Bible. You start in the gospel, then you go to the beginning. So I'm just following that.
Do you read like chapter 6 or 7? Did I do that right?
Yeah.
I love it. Nailed it, guys. All right, Tori, I have a question for you because being a leader, right, you often get some questions that might be difficult, right? About, did Jesus say that? Was what the Bible say true? How do you, as a leader, especially a younger leader, you're not that far out of high school, right? I mean, you're in your early 20s. How do you navigate challenging questions for your students?
I mean, I think the first and foremost is honesty.
Yeah.
I don't want to filter a lot of things, and obviously there's ways you can say things to make it easier and make it more digestible. But I feel like being kind of upfront about it, and also being upfront about the things that you don't know about.
Yeah.
Because the Bible is the most challenging book. There's so much that we don't know. And then also reminding students of the context of when and where it was written. I think that's a big thing, to remind students that a lot of times the authors of these books weren't thinking down that Tori is going to read this in this many years ahead, and is going to know that. And especially with Paul, I think Paul is easily misconstrued on like who he's writing to and like how he works and his wording and all that. So I feel like that's a big one. And then just being honest that like God is not scared of your questions.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to have these questions. And just remind them the biggest thing is like context. I know a lot of students will have like, oh, in this story, Jesus says this. So then it's like, okay, so how can we take a step back, look at this section and be like, who is he writing to? Like, let's go through the process. Like, honestly, the who, what, when, where, and whys, and try to put that back to how we like are today and see that difference.
Yeah, our church, and Adam leads the way in this, but also our youth leaders mimic it in the sense of ask questions, right? Be curious.
Yeah.
Be curious is something I think that is a value that is really underestimated, underutilized, right? If we're curious about each other, about things, and ask those questions, right, we can really delve into get to know people, right? That's one thing that I really like doing a podcast, right? I really like just connecting with people. So be curious. So last thing I'm going to ask is, what do you hope spiritually to accomplish or to achieve or to, gain over the next year spiritually, right? So again, you're going in your sophomore year, right? You're coming right out of college. So Roxy, I'll start with you. What are you hoping for spiritually over the next year?
I think it's always been a dream of mine to just like become a like significant part of the church.
Okay.
And even though I don't think I can accomplish that in over a year or in just a year, I can maybe get more involved in the church and just go to many things to help people grow in their faith.
Yeah. Do you see yourself as maybe a leader one day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The last year I spent with you, I see a lot of leadership qualities. I think we can all be a leader in different ways, right? And so whether you're an admin at a church, whether you're an undergrad, a freshman, whether you're Pastor Adam, anywhere in between, right? Like we all have leadership skills. So I appreciate hearing that. But Tori, what about you? Over the next year, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I want to continue. I studied religion in college, and so a lot of my classes were kind of dissecting the Bible and asking the questions and asking the whys and the hows, and honestly just having straight discussions. But I feel like I did that the last few years, and so now I'd like to take some more time to maybe just do it more devotionally, spend time with God just personally. I think studying in religion in college can be a hard balance of that, especially when you're just so immersed into it. Yeah. So I think that's just always a big struggle. So now it's just kind of like taking a step back and knowing that seminary is in the future and I can go into that. But for now, just enjoying it devotionally and just like actually actively growing in my faith.
Like I said, I've watched, again, you over the last year and a half, just more from an observatory role, but also I've been volunteered last year and just watch you really thrive. And it's clear you have such a connection with the youth, and it's really a passion, so it's great to see. So thank you both for joining us. I really appreciate it, again, to understand your journey. Again, we just got a little bit of a glimpse, but I'm curious. You guys sound like you're curious. We want everybody listening to be curious and just kind of know and ask questions and really find out about one another. So we're going to bounce. I thank you, everybody, for joining us. So keep your eye on your social media for what's coming next. Right, we're going to keep doing many more episodes. Also, I know we'll be reaching out for feedback on social media. Again, suggestions, if you'd like to come on, if you have a story to tell, if you have a certain topic of episode you'd like us to delve into, please let us know. We want to make sure we handle that. So I'm going to leave you with love God, love people, serve the world. We'll see you next time.